Hi, good afternoon. An extra show. Deport, deport, deport. Donald Trump, leader of the free world, agrees with Jon Gaunt. He absolutely agrees with me. We're losing our country. We cannot allow these foreign invaders to still keep getting in at Dover, especially in the light of these horrendous sexual assaults that are happening too. Not that every flip-flop warrior getting out of a dinghy in Dover is a rapist, but we've got enough perverts and nonsense in our own country. We shouldn't be letting in others, and we certainly shouldn't be letting in all of these thousands, tens of thousands of undocumented, unknown men into our country from a different cultural background. I said the other day it was time to get tough. I'm glad to see that Shabana, Shabana Mahmood is now looking at what they have done in particular in other countries, but we need to get on with it. Deport, deport, deport. I'm with the president. Who are you with? And on the same level, I've now decided unequivocally I'm with Donald Trump after that interview yesterday. He is correct to sue the BBC. I want him to sue their ass off them. What about you? Let's get your views. This is an extra show. This is going to be a humdinger if you get involved. There's so much to talk about because the BBC story, the Trump story, and the illegal migrant story, well, they all tie together because effectively it shows how this country isn't really a democracy. It's run by a chumocracy. It's run where the Pravda, where the media is effectively the BBC. And we've shown recently just how biased it is. I mean, it's remarkable. An upstart channel, right? A disruptor channel like GB News got an interview. Okay, it was a soft interview, but I thought Bev Turner did really well. An interview with the most powerful man in the world, not the BBC. So why do we need the BBC anymore? The answer is we don't. We certainly don't need to pay for it with a compulsory license fee. And I ask you this question. If they're willing to stitch up the president of the free world, what do you think they're going to do to you? Your trade union, if you're on strike, your organisation, you concerned mums in Epping, well, they're going to call you far right. They're going to call you scum. So I was really interested to watch last night and see that Donald Trump effectively agrees with me that we need troops on the beach, the Navy in the Channel to stop illegals invading the UK, to deter them. If they do land, they must be immediately put in secure camps and deported before their flip-flops dry out. We need to follow Denmark's lead and get tough. And I mean tough. Are you with me or against me? My fear, though, and it's already starting to happen in the papers, Mahmood hasn't even announced this yet. She's making a big announcement on Monday. And as I said in my previous podcast, she mustn't back down. She mustn't water it down. It should be as hard, if not tougher, than Denmark's policy. Denmark has cut illegal migration to 1,000 or 2. They've got on top of it, just like Donald Trump has got on top of it. And like last night when Donald Trump said, you're going to lose your country, or Western Europe, you're all going to lose. He's right. We're letting in these people from a totally different cultural background who clearly don't want to fit in. They're taking the piss. You can see it. I can see it. Why can't our lousy government? It's not just the government. This is not just Labour. It's the whole political class. But let me ask you a very, very serious question, Keir Starmer. How many more women and young girls need to be raped before you and the lousy Labour government acts and protects Brits first? Let me tell you about this story. It made me cry when I read this morning. This is about the asylum seeker with a record, a criminal record as long as my arm. He was jailed. He should have been hung for raping a 15-year-old girl in Oxford. He raped a vulnerable 15-year-old girl in a busy city centre. His name is Armin Abidi Mofrad. He'd been staying, here's the surprise, everyone, at an Asylum hotel. He attacked the schoolgirl near Oxford's Westgate shopping centre. I know it well because my daughter, as you know, went to Oxford as well. So all of this sort of rings bells for me. I've got two beautiful daughters. They're sort of in their very early 30s now. But how are they protected? This monster, last month, he's originally from Iran. He was found guilty last month, but Judge Maria Lam yesterday sentenced him to 9 years and 6 months in prison. They're going to try and deport him with an extended license period of 3 years. He should swing. He should swing. He was 34. She was 15. And she says, while you may not have realized she was under 16, she looked young and you exploited the vulnerability of someone much younger. Basically, this girl had been particularly vulnerable because she drank half a bottle of vodka and was clearly intoxicated when she met Mofford on Queen Street that evening. Mofford took her to St. Ebbs Street, then into the Westgate Centre before the teenager was able to make her escape. Basically, him, this monster, an illegal immigrant, he got in by boat. He assaulted, the other man assaulted the victim, but Moffrad has refused to name his accomplice and he's never been arrested. This girl was raped by this monster. He wanted to use her like a sex doll, he said. He took a photo of himself kissing the victim without her knowledge. He took a video of himself with a different girl on the same evening. It's just disgraceful. But it gets worse because Moffrad had a string of convictions for assault when he lived in Germany as an illegal immigrant. And violence played a significant part in those attacks too. This girl, I don't know if you've seen, again, remarkable work by GB News. Have you seen the report by Charlie Peters? He talked to Martin Daubney, my old mate, and he made Martin cry because he read out the victim statement. You know when they give a statement about how it's affected her? As a father of two, when I read that today and listened to Charlie just reading it, so this is a bloke reading out what she wanted to say and she wasn't allowed to say it in court. I don't know why. This man has wrecked her career, her life, 15 years old. He's already been done for sexual assault and other serious offences. How the fuck did he get into our country? So what we need to do immediately is get tough. And I forget all this human rights cobblers. Anybody who arrives at Dover or in the back of a lorry, this nonsense, oh no, we can't test them to see how old they are. We can't do DNA on them. Yes, we can. Hold them down and take the swabs. Because we are letting in people to our country and some of them are raping, murdering and sexually assaulting our females. Well, I don't know about you. I've had enough. And that's why I'm doing this show today. I was almost at the point of exploding earlier today. The more I thought about this, I went for a walk, but it just kept ringing around in my head, this girl's words. And I want to say well done to GB News. Well done to Charlie Peters, who's got to be one of the best reporters in Britain at the moment. He's doing all this work with the grooming gangs as well. And also well done to Bev Turner, because she sat down with the most powerful man in the world. She obviously wanted to talk to him about the BBC, and they talked about that. And he's now saying he's going to sue the BBC for between $1 billion and $5 billion. Meanwhile, all the same people who support animals like this or rapists are coming out saying, oh, we can't have tougher immigration. We can't do this. We can't do that. Yes, we can, because that's what the majority of people want. And what we've seen this week is the BBC are willing, the BBC, which you have to pay for, and if you don't pay for it, you're going to prison. The BBC have altered what Donald Trump did. It wasn't a fucking mistake. A mistake is accidentally putting tape together that doesn't make sense. And also, they did it on Newsnight. The same story. They did it to paint Trump as if he incited the riot. Now, it's ridiculous anyway, you stupid liberal twats, because if you want to say that Trump's a baddie, you can say it. There's enough evidence there for you. But it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I want to read a text out that my daughter sent to me today, which I thought she said to me, how are you, etc., etc. Had the normal sort of conversation. And then she said to me, what she said to me, I'm laughing. What is it? She said, what do you make of this Trump BBC thing? I think it's hilarious. She's a modern young woman, right? So went back to her and said, what do you mean? What do you mean? I feel like you couldn't make it up, she says. I hope Trump does sue the BBC and they go bust. Laugh out loud. I said, I didn't think you'd have your view on the BBC, darling. Is surprising. Tell me more. This is my daughter, a young British woman, highly educated, my daughter is. She says, I hate the BBC. They pretend to be unbiased, Dad, and they're cutting speeches like that. It's just like Hitler and Stalin doctoring photos. Also, the TV license is a pile of shit and totally outdated for the modern world. I can't tell you how proud I am of my daughter, Bethany, writing that. I think it's brilliant. Not because it just concurs with my view. I didn't realise she thought like that. She's a young, educated woman. She's had enough, because if you read the papers today or you put on the mainstream and lamestream broadcasters, you'd think that everyone's attacking our BBC. We've got people like Ed Davies saying, we've got to stand up to Trump. He's attacking our free press. No, he isn't. He's attacking people who outwardly, completely, without any shame, lied and changed what he said. He has every right to sue the arse off the BBC. And the BBC are trying to tough it out. They're trying to be arrogant, as they always are. And I know, I worked for them for the best part of 30 years as a freelancer. I know what they're like. And that is why we've got this softly letting any old toe rag, any Tom, Dick and Mohammed into our country, even if they don't want to believe and act in a reasonable and civilized manner. That's why these people are getting into our country, because these kinds of people, if they don't work for the BBC, and it's often interchangeable, John Nicholson's been moaning on Twitter this afternoon without telling everybody, oh, before I became an MSP or whatever it is, Scottish MP, he worked for the BBC. He was on breakfast telly. He's part of it. And this is the whole thing. There's this group think, not just in the BBC, but through politics. So they ignore what we, the common people, think. And in fact, it's worse than that. They despise us. Well, I've had enough of the liberal hand-wringing of these liberal, actually they're illiberal bedwetters, led by the biased BBC, and I want action. The BBC has definitely been exposed as propagandists for the enemy, not the band. And I say we need to support Trump in his case against them. I want him to rub their noses in it. And all this bullshit about you're going to end up paying more for the license. Well, no, you're not, because if he wins, the license fee is done and dusted, but they'll be insured anyway. It's not going to come out of Mrs. Groggins' purse down the road who likes watching the BBC. Of course it isn't. And in fact, this could be the death knell for them, and rightly so. BBC News are spit on your propaganda, because the BBC represent all that is wrong with modern Britain, thinking they're somehow morally superior and tarring the decent, silent majority of us as far right. even mums whose daughters have been raped. This woman whose girl has been raped, who I was just telling you about in Oxford, by an illegal immigrant with a criminal record as long as my arm, even she is saying, or they're trying to paint her as far right so they don't give her any publicity. I've had enough. Have you? I say scrap the BBC, and I say stop all illegal immigration. And I don't think it's difficult. Like I say, Navy in the Channel, Army on the beach, secure detention centres to put them in, move everybody out of the hotels with the squeezy soap this week, put them in tents, give them the choice, they can go back, even pay for some of them to go back. Just get them out of the country, but make it absolutely clear. Anyone who's in Calais who's thinking of coming across, you're not going to get in to soft touch Britain. We've been lied to by our politicians, by the establishment class, by the police who are so woke, by the social services, by a government that says the rights of an illegal immigrant, say, for example, in the Bell Hotel in Epping, supersedes the rights of local British people. I've had enough. Have you? I say Starmer's a disgrace. I'm glad to hear that Shabana Mahmood is looking at the way other countries, tougher countries than ours, Denmark, are dealing with it. But you watch, it'll be watered down, it'll be softened, because we've already got the traitors in Parliament who are saying, oh, you can't do that, it's racist, you can't do that. The same kind of people who infest the BBC, where everything is racist, where they do a description of a burglar, but they don't mention the defining feature, which is they're black, yeah, for example, or they're Asian, or they're white, or they got ginger. Well, they would if they were white. This is why we've got to this ridiculous situation. This is why the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs have got away with their filth for so long. Oh, and just while I'm on the subject, I agree entirely with Donald Trump in his criticism of Khan. Khan is an absolute disgrace as well. So that's me. I've nearly bust a blood vessel there. 17 minutes of me. Let's have you now. Feel free. Loads of comments coming through. Let's have a conversation about this. But do you see where I'm arguing about? I'm saying the BBC, the license fee, the way they've treated Trump, the illegal immigration, all of these things are tied together. And now's the time to get angry. And now is the time for our government to do something. So I want the license fee scrapped. I want the BBC totally humiliated. I don't buy into this bullshit that it's our BBC. And they're trying to paint it like Trump is having a go at the BBC. He wouldn't have had a go at the BBC if the BBC hadn't lied about him. And as he says, it's corrupt what they've done. It is corrupt. That is the word to describe it. It's not a bloody mistake. They've done it deliberately, just like they lie about Israel, just like they lie about Hamas and Palestine. Can you believe a word they've say? No, you can't. Overfunded, overindulged, and now over. Come on, Trumpy, let's take them to the cleaners. If that's upset you, let's have your view as well, please. This is an extra show. If you want to help me out financially, you know what you've got to do. Just click the little dollar sign there and donate some money, please. We need money. It's independent broadcasting, remember. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Here we go. Right. John, please, go landscape. Portrait does not suit you. Well, you're looking at the wrong one. If you go on YouTube, there's two versions. It's actually an added thing I've put into the equation. So just go back onto Jon Gaunt TV. You can choose landscape if you want. But I think there's a few more important things than worrying about the shape of the screen. The BBC, Stephen Tyler says on Facebook, are like an abusive partner. I think they're worse. Mahmood pretending to make it look like she's doing something because she's got her evil eyes on number 10, says DGlaman4214. Well, perhaps, but let me tell you, I actually I actually think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I actually think I've got my doubts about it, and I've said that all along. Let's wait and see. But rather than just be negative, which you obviously are, you need to let go. Let go of it. Stop being negative. Be positive. That's what I would say to you, my friend. Thank you for your comments. Let's go to some more. Where are we? Stuart Lowe. Yo and hello. Come on, make a comment rather than just say hello. Fraser Ford's got sunglasses on. Thank you very much indeed. That's another one that will get 500 quid. Well, no, hold on a minute. I didn't agree with giving the Ethiopian 500 quid. But when I look at the way that Denmark is dealing with this, they do sometimes pay up to 20 odd grand to return somebody. But what you've got to weigh into that is how much does it cost to keep them? Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make a habit of it, but we just need, first and foremost, we need to stop any more coming. And the only way to do that is the army on the beach, navy in the channel, no hotels, all in tents, and the ones we've already got here start deporting. Once we see mass deportations, you will see the numbers go down. So that's part of it. I agree. But if we need to spend some money, 2 grand, 3, I think 3 grand's the maximum we pay. Just get rid of them. We're at crisis point. This is a crisis. Let's move on. What is this? I've got some twats here. PH4K14NG. Jon Gaunt TV. It's wash day, John. You need to wash your shirt. It's wash day. Then he says, 14 listeners. You're still smashing the big numbers, John. Why do you make the effort to come on and try and criticize? What's the point? And for your attention, if you look at the numbers now, you'll find it's a bit more than that. But I don't care. Do you know how the internet works? Some people watch live, some people will watch later. But I'm going to put you out of your misery, Mr. Anonymous Troll. This is what I'm going to do. Look, ban user and delete comments. Bye, bye. If you don't like it, don't watch, don't listen. It's very simple. It's not the BBC. You're not paying me, you cretin. Don't wind me up today. Graham Hatton, evening, John. Just bought you 3 coffees. Oh, man alive. Thank you. If you want to do that, you go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and contribute a bit of cash. Graham, thank you very much. It would appear that vulnerable young women and girls are of no consequence to the powers that be. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's shameful. I honestly believe that our government see the women and young girls of this country as dispensable. Well, I can't see any other way of it. I think you're right, Graham. I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely terrible. How many more girls need to get raped? Let's move on. Stuart Lowe, the noose for all child rapists. Well, not necessarily the noose, definitely execution. I'm all for that. I haven't got a problem with it at all. Another thing we could learn from Trump. But what we've got to do now, though, is get tough on the beaches. We've got to also destroy the BBC. And I hate this thing. Some of the liberals are saying that anyone who's attacking the BBC is a traitor. Anybody who's in the Trump camp is a traitor. You what? Don't fucking have a go at my patriotism, you divs. You people who spew out anti-British, anti-white filth every night in your bulletins. Don't do that to me, because you're picking on the wrong people. In fact, I'll ask you, do you think supporting Trump in this case is anti-British? I don't. I think it's pro-common sense. I just heard about an explosion near an airport yesterday. Buenos Aires. What are you on about, Fraser? What's that got to do with anything? I agree the BBC is going to go bust. It certainly is. Good luck with the channel, John. Waking up, Britain. We have been invaded, says Patriot Dan. Thank you, Patriot. Crag says, hi, John. Crag Mawson. Hi, mate. Good to have you. Great. This has just popped up on my YouTube feed. 2 thumbs up, says Western Ood. Well, I'm here every day, 4 or 5 days a week, Monday to Friday at 6:30 normally. I always do an extra show now on a Sunday. That's become a bit of a habit, so there'll be one of them tomorrow. And I also do extra shows. Like today, I've just got so frustrated. And my daughter sending me that text, which I think's absolutely out of this world. It just made me think I've got to talk to people today. If you agree with me, please send me a comment. If you disagree, that's fine as well. Just don't be personally abusive. And if you hate it, just switch off. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me one iota. So do whatever you want to do. And to you, Westernood, if you're new, you must check out and subscribe. It's free, completely free. Jon Gaunt TV. You'll find it on YouTube. Go there. A little pop-up comes up. Says, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. Doesn't cost a penny. Then subscribe. Then you can see all the archive of the podcasts that I've made and the videos. You'll also get alerted if you press the bell every time I do a new one. So it's as simple as that. If you want to help out financially because you think what I'm doing is important, you go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and donate anything from $5 upwards, or you can donate on YouTube just by clicking the $ and donate whatever you fancy. Thank you. Patriot, no foreign invaders welcome. Plus, stop the woke Fabian nonsense. Let's get back to basics. Well, I agree with all of that. Thank you for making your point on YouTube. John, thank you for talking more sense than Starmer. More sense than Starmer? I was chatting to a little baby today in the local cafe. The baby talks more sense than Starmer. Starmer is a cretin. 100% cretin. He needs to go. They say they cannot remove them. I always thought there's no such thing as cannot. It's will not. What a great point. Annette Locke on Facebook. Thank you for making it. I'll just tell you something about that, Annette. I do like that point you're making. Because if we can't do it without ripping up the ECHR and all the rest of all the other liberal bullshit the BBC come out with, how come Denmark's doing it? How come they've reduced it by 90%? How come they've created a hostile atmosphere and told people, don't come here, you're better off going somewhere else? Of course we can do it. But our political masters, and I'm including the Conservatives, I know they've changed tack recently, they tell us we can't. It's lies. What are they up to? Are you agreeing with me or disagreeing with me? Let's have your comments, please. Scottish Barracks is letting in 300 asylum seekers to live there. Yeah, well, we know that. That's old news, but thank you for telling me again. It says in 3 months' time, yeah, they're going to kick all the soldiers out first. Yeah, it's giving taxpayers money to Trump. This bloke is a traitor. Oh, Mick, you're having a go. Good man. Let's analyse what you've said, even though it hardly makes any sense. Yes, let's give taxpayers money to Trump. What taxpayers' money do we give to the BBC? We don't. The BBC is an arm's length company. They keep telling us that. It's funded by the licence fee. So you might be right to say the money is going to come out of the licence fee and therefore they'll try and charge us more. They've got two hopes for that. One of them's Bob Hope and the other one's No Hope. There's no way they're going to be able to put up the licence fee. This all started because the BBC lied. The BBC cheated. And then he goes on to say, this bloke is a traitor. I presume you're talking about me. Mick Barrett on Facebook. You think I'm a traitor? I'm defending our country. I want a BBC that we pay for that gives fair treatment. Let's look at Brexit. Was that fair, the way they reported on that? No. No, it wasn't. I'll wait for your apology, and next time, tell you what, engage brain before you take on somebody who's intellectually superior to you. Sorry, that was a bit too much. Johnny and Sue, Trump will bring the BBC down. Then he'll set his sights on the Labour Party for their input on trying to derail Trump's election by sending Labour supporters to America to help Biden. I think he's got bigger fish to fry. I think he will take the BBC. I really do. And the BBC have already admitted they've done wrong. All the BBC are doing is saying, yeah, we did do that, but we're not going to give you any compensation. That's where the upset comes. And they didn't really say sorry, did they? Sorry is the hardest word for the BBC. Do you know why? Because they've got this inbred and trained into them sense of superiority. That's why these people on the left call themselves progressives, and they hate populists. Well, I would have thought something that was popular, i.e. populist, is good. But no, not in La La Land, not in BBC Labour Lovey Land, where they all go to Kefalonia in the summer. No, where they're Birkenstock sandals. No, they're progressive. They're really progressive. They think it's a good idea to let every bit of scum from the world here. Oh, and it's unfortunate. It's kind of collateral damage if girls get raped. Well, I say no. I say the first duty of any government is the protection of its people. Starmer's fond of saying that, isn't he? He just doesn't know how to do it. Where are we going next? Tommy Mason says, laugh out loud, don't mess with Gaunty. Well, I just think that's two cretins. We haven't had many cretins recently. Two cretins who don't like what I do. Why would you tune in? And also, maybe they should question, I hate that Jon Gaunt, but I'm going to tell him. I'm going to get on this program and I'm going to tell him. Do you see what I mean? Super cretins. That's what you are. I used to hate Dave Lee Travers. Ended up working with him for a few months at BBC Luton. But when he was on the radio, when I was in the sixth form, I hated him. So guess what I did? Click, click, turned it off. I didn't want to listen to him. That's what you do. And like on the internet, when I'm providing my own platform, you don't have to come here. And I love this thing when people knock the audience figures. They're not massive. They're not. I accept that. But they're building. They're building. We've got nearly 2 million views. From my back bedroom, I'm quite happy with that, mate. I will ask another question of the cretins. What have you ever achieved in your life? What's that song? What have you done to make yourself feel proud today? Shall we just go through my CV? No, it's a bit boring, isn't it? All the Sonys I've won, that's a bit boring. Every radio station I've been on where the audience have gone through the roof. Yeah, it's a bit boring, isn't it? All the press awards I've won. The fact that I've worked for a national newspaper for 6 years. Yeah, I'm useless, me. I'm a has-been. Yeah. I'd rather be a fucking has-been than a never-been like you, cretins. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. George says, we must stop this by us civilians now. Ooh, careful, George. John, for a start, we should stop paying for doing sweet FA to stop the flip-flop boys. Yeah, we should definitely stop. I can't understand. What are we paying France for? You're absolutely right. I agree with you, Craig. Thank you for your comments. Does anyone else think moving these illegals into empty army barracks, are they being trained? Well, yeah, there's been this kind of rumor. Because the problem is they're all of fighting age, aren't they? Or the majority of them. I had an expert on my show a few months ago, a guy called Mike Yardley, ex-army. He said he saw a load of them walking through town. It was some town down south. And he said they were walking in step as if they'd had military training. Makes you wonder. I don't know, but it makes you wonder. Western Ood, thank you very much indeed. Now, this is an interesting one. He says, goodbye, BBC. No more crap EastEnders. Wait a minute. That's Taxi Driver 2107. If the BBC wasn't funded by a licence fee and they still put EastEnders on, it would probably get an audience and people would probably be willing to pay for that as part of their package. Same with things like Match of the Day. I personally like Shetland. I don't know if you watch that. I would pay a small amount for watching that. I've got, Netflix and the rest of it in the house, and I don't mind paying. What I object to is when they take some of my money and they pay on Radio 4, which I never listen to, or local radio, which is unadulterated crap now, right? It used to be good when I was on it. Radio 5 Live, Radio 5 Dead, more like. We've got Talk Sport. We don't need 5 Dead. We've got GB News. We've got Talk Radio. Do we need those BBC channels just doing the same thing? Do we need those? Let's scare a pensioner out of their shit Have you ever watched daytime TV up till about lunchtime? Every program is decided, apart from Dion Dublin's show and Martin, my friend Martel. Apart from that, Under the Hammer, all the rest of them are designed to scare the shit, the living daylights out of pensioners. What's that all about? I don't want to pay for that. I want to have the choice. So it's not so much about goodbye crap EastEnders. It's about giving choice, isn't it? And like their news, if their news is so superior and so good, right, people will pay for it, won't they? I will say this about Radio 4. Oh, I couldn't live without the Today programme. Pay for it. Because I can live without it. Oh, I couldn't live without the Archers. Pay for it. Because I can live without it. Do you see what I'm getting to? The licence fee, like my daughter said, is just completely and utterly outdated. That's why I want to get this. I'll go back to what she said. She's 30. I hate the BBC. Pretend to be unbiased, and they're cutting speeches like that of Trump. Just like Hitler and Stalin doctoring photos. It's exactly right what she's saying. Also, the TV licence is a pile of shit. Now, I'd rather my daughter was a bit more eloquent, as she's got an MA and a BA and a PhD in English. But, you know, sometimes the word shit sums it up well. The TV licence is a pile of shit and totally outdated for the modern world. I hope she doesn't mind me quoting her. But I'm proud of her. I'm proud of what she says there. What about you? Do you agree with her? Does anyone else think that the government moving the illegals into empty armour barracks is a bit suspicious? We keep hearing they're fighting men of military age. So are they getting trained? No, they're not getting trained. You're putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. But I take on board what you're saying. They could cause grief, though, couldn't they? If they have been trained elsewhere. Have you donated yet, Weston? Now you found me. Thank you, my friend. No more Starmer and no more BBC, says Taxi Driver 2107. John, Trump has every right to sue the BBC, says Crag, one of my regular contributors, and he's on YouTube today. Of course he does. He has every right. And I thought it was funny that he kept it right to the end of the day, to his deadline, before he actually spoke to anyone about it. But I wonder if the BBC are going to stop being so bloody superior and think about why are GBTV, what are they called? GBTV. Why are they getting interviews with Trump? Why aren't the BBC? I thought the BBC were the absolute broadcasters, the state broadcasters. Anybody else going to contribute or make a comment? Feel free in the comment box. If you want to donate, please click on the little logo, the little $sign, and donate a few quid. If you want to go the other way, do it www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. I will be back on Monday at 6:30. Don't forget as well. And I'm probably doing a show tomorrow. So look out for that. And don't forget to join Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. Richard Pope, Labour think their policies are working. It beggars belief, like they're in denial with all the unrest that they are brewing. So very good point. I agree with you completely. They tell us we should keep Starmer, as the next one will be worse. Make that make sense. There's a Leicester City fan, K-Man 40. It doesn't make sense. I can't make it sense. It's nonsense. But I don't think there's anyone. I mean, God's sake, who were they putting forward the other day? West Streeting. No. Andy Burnham, well, better than what Starmer is. They're now saying Shabana Mahmood. Well, let's see what she says on Monday about Denmark. Because don't forget, the three things we're kind of talking about today, we're talking about the BBC, we're talking about Starmer, but we're talking about how do we get control of our borders. Do you agree with President Trump? I want every penny back paid to the BBC. You mean you want the money you've paid in? Yeah, I understand that. I can understand why you're frustrated. It is a propaganda channel. It's been infiltrated by Islam. Well, that's you putting forward your own prejudice there. They obviously, when they report certain facts, they love saying, I mean, they, you know, when they talk about anti-Semite behavior or anti-Jew hatred, they always have to say as well, and there's a rising tide of Islamophobia, to which I always go, is there? But I don't think they've been infiltrated. They should have, they of course should have Muslims working for them. Sharon Walker says, what do you think of Alba? I presume you mean the Scottish political party set up by Alex Salmond. I don't think much of it, to be honest with you. Scottish politics is in a right mess. Give Britain to Trump as another state. I made that suggestion a few months ago, my friend. Funny. You've had a few from what I call the Magic Mushroom Squad on today, John. Yeah, well, I suppose I keep them occupied. I hate him so much. I'm going to spend Saturday afternoon trolling him. Annette, I think they're I think they're very, very funny. What's this one? I just want to go back on what, because he's just saying. George says, sorry, mate, just giving the true info. What, the true info about the people? He's got a picture of Crusaders. Not sure that helps, mate. Not sure that helps. Jackie Ward says, you're a triple award winner. Sony award winner. You can't be that bad. Oh, thank you, Jackie. It's a long time ago. I am a has-been, obviously. Hello, Gaunty. Good to see you back. Did Beth finish uni and finish getting the Cleveland steamer? I don't understand the second part. This is Miss Natalie somebody. She's still at university, but she works as well at the same time. She's studying for a PhD in Shakespeare. So it takes forever and you don't get it funded. You just don't. You can get funded to go to shit bucket university and study, I don't know, some Mickey Mouse degree. But if you're a real academic, it's very hard to get funded. So she works in a bar, a very successful bar, and she does very well at it. And she works her socks off. So that's where she's up to. I don't understand the Cleveland steamer, but thank you very much indeed. Savile was well paid by the BBC. Let us not forget, says Stuart Lowe. Bloody hell, you're fired up tonight, John. Pay no heed to those that criticise. I don't, Graham. I find them amusing. I find them a bit annoying when you get in a flow going along and some twat says, oh, and there's only 5 people watching and like the show's only just started. They've got no idea of... Yes, that does annoy me, but not really. Where are we going next? Pay no heed to those that criticise. Jealous? Much? Of course they are. They do nothing but agitate. Well, they don't even agitate. You know what I mean? They think they're smart, but they're about as funny as toothache. If you want to be a smart ass, you first have to be smart. Otherwise, you're just an ass. I love it. Adam Cowning. Years ago, everyone relied on the BBC for the news and great entertainment programs. Very rare I watch it now, or even normal TV. I don't think you're an exception, Adam. I think you're probably... the rule. I think a lot of people are like you. Like tonight, I'm thinking, I'm in looking after my mother-in-law again tonight. I was in last night, and it's like, what's on? Strictly. And she loves it, so I have to watch it with her, right? And it's all right. It's a good show and all that. I wouldn't watch it if I had to pay for it. But the BBC, this is where the BBC are kind of redundant. I mean, I used to get up and watch breakfast telly. I now lie in my pit and on my phone and on my computer, I can watch GB News, I can watch ITV, I can watch whatever I want to watch. American channels. Why do I want to watch that Naga, what's her name? Naga, who's in trouble for bullying. She's one superior cow. I've worked with her many times. I used to do a Sunday morning show that she did. She was very superior, full of her own importance. But they all are on the BBC. They all are. Anyway, a different thing. The BBC lied to us with their detector vans fitted with oversized coat hangers on top of the vans, claiming they could detect us watching live TV. Yeah, you're right, Paul. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. People were taken in by it. People were taken in with it. Right, that's me finished, I think. Unless you've got another comment to make, feel free. I should have done a poll, shouldn't I? I'd like to know who you're with. Are you with Trump or are you trying to protect our BBC? As if it's something precious. See, this is the thing I don't understand. Ed Davey and people like that, John Nicholson, these people in Alistair Campbell, the purveyor of all truth, of course. How many seconds was it before we were going to be annihilated by him and Tony Blair's enemy, Saddam or whoever it was? Yeah. Anyway, they all got this view now that if you don't support the BBC, Trump is trying to attack Britain, that somehow it's anti-British. But the reason why Trump has got his knickers in a twist is because they outrightly lied about him. They changed his speech. It wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate to make him look awful. That's what they did. That's how they lie. So no wonder he's upset. And no wonder British people who've got their heads on are supporting Trump. Maybe you're not. If you're going to give me a different reason for it, fine. What we got here? Stuart Lowe says he's supporting Trump. Thank you. Jackie Ward says I'm with Trump. And Craig says, John, thank you for another awesome live stream. As always, keep up your fantastic work. I hope you and your family are well. Thank you, my friend. Trump is awesome, man. Sue, baby Sue, says Blue Pop G68. Interesting. Dazzle in Wales, I presume it's Wales, says Trump all the way. The BBC deserves to be sued. I can see them all crying into their oat milk lattes. That's so true. That is so true. The BBC have got offices in a place called Millbank. Right? I used to go there and do shows in the mornings and stuff like this. And they've got a cafe. And when you go to the cafe, you say, I'll have a cappuccino or I'll have a latte. Or... They don't do normal coffee. But anyway, so you have a coffee. And then they go, is it oat milk or soya milk? First time I went, huh? Because, I'm a bit hard of hearing. I've got hearing aids. I said, what do you mean? Soya or oat milk? I said, I want milk. What? You want cow's milk? Yes, if that's at all possible. And it was like, they opened the fridge and it was literally like they had a bottle in there that was carbon dated. In fact, David Attenborough was in there and he was dating the milk because no one had normal milk because they're all ponces with their oat milk lattes. So that made me laugh. That's true. That is the BBC. Absolutely spot on. Right, let's go to this one. I've only got a few more minutes. If you want to get on, do it now. Misunderstand. They didn't lie about him. They just cut down the important parts that were relevant to the news story. Happens all the time. Oh, this is somebody giving me a lecture on journalism. How many years have I been in it? 30, 35? Anyway. Happens all the time. You're trying to make something out of nothing. Shame on you, says Hoobs Grove on YouTube. Well, let's just analyse what you're saying. You're telling me I've worked in Fleet Street. I've worked in local papers, regional papers, and I've been on local, regional, radio, telly. I've won more awards than anybody else in one night. You're telling me that you know more about editing, do you? Okay, let's just carry on. We'll take that, put that to one side. You say that they cut down the important parts that were relevant to the news story. No, they didn't. I understand that you can't put the whole speech up. This was basically 2 speeches, which they cut with like at least 15 minutes or 25 minutes in between it, and they put them together. So it changed the fundamental point that Trump was making. Now, this is not disputable, Hoobs Groove. The BBC have admitted to this. They say it was a mistake. I say bullshit. You can't make that mistake. We are talking about panorama. Let me tell you how it works. If you're interviewing somebody, I had this a lot when I was on TalkSport. We had it also even in local radio. They will sometimes get the duty solicitor. So in local radio, they have one solicitor who's covering a few stations. When I was on The Sun, they have solicitors there who were there on a sort of rota, who were always there, so they could check it. It was called Make Sure You Get It Lawyered. And then the lawyer would make a decision, say, yeah, well, how important is the story? You know, are we getting stressed about nothing? No, it's really important. We think Keir Starmer's, I nearly said the thing I shouldn't say, doing something, right? Okay, what evidence you got? Okay, let's weigh all this up. This is what the lawyer does. Then he says, The final question they always ask, and this is the same in any newspaper or major broadcaster, what's the likelihood of that person suing? So when you're doing a rock star saying that, he's getting his rocks off with some person, the chances are they wouldn't, because they need the Sun on their side or the newspaper on their side. And that old adage, all publicity is good publicity. If it's a major political figure, you've got a lot more to weigh up. So when it was Trump, you'd have thought the lawyer for Panorama, their number one current affairs program, would say, no, he's very litigious. We can't run this story. We have to run it in a different way. Let me look at the tape. So they'd played a video to him and they go, is that two speeches put together? Yeah. Oh, why haven't you put a white flash in between to make it obvious there's been a passage of time? Go away and redo it. That's the thing I can't understand. And then when it was revealed on GB News that they'd done this before with exactly the same material a year or so previous on Newsnight, and one of the guests from the White House said, hang on, you've clipped that together. And they just ignored them. That's where the BBC have done bang to rights. Now, if you want a BBC, a state broadcaster, you have to pay for, and if you don't pay for it, you go to prison. If you want them behaving like that, then off you run. You may as well go and live in Russia. This is why it's so important. And have you noticed we've not been told who did it? Have we? Tim Davie has fallen on his sword. So has the woman who was head of news. But who did this? This is why it's an important story. Hoobs Groove, I hope you're going to listen again, and I hope you understand now. And believe me, my friend, I do know what I'm talking about. Mr. Trump, all the way, says Lorraine Harvey. George Triggs has given me a load of smiley faces. Thank you, my friend. John, was it expensive in the cafe at the BBC? Of course it was. Although they've all got subsidy. They've all got these cards which they flash. They won't be paying what I was paying. Anyway, I ended up taking a flask. Why has it taken so long for the BBC to be sued? I'm so surprised that other people haven't before. Well, because the BBC is a big organisation, and taking civil cases for defamation and stuff, very expensive. But Trump's got more money than them, hasn't he? So he can. John, get Beth to get on Chatterbait and give us some Shakespeare. I don't really understand what that means. What's Chatterbait? Oh, is that porn? We won't be doing that, my friend. But she's an expert on Shakespeare. Don't see why Trump shouldn't sue the BBC, says Den Spinks, one of my regulars. Thank you, Den. Right, I've had enough. I'm going. I'm going to get on with my life tonight, calm down a bit. Thanks for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think it's worth any money, feel free to donate a $5 or so. Just go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or alternatively, you can just click the little $sign on the screen. If you're listening on a podcast, check out Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. You'll see all the archive there, and you can join completely free. So that's what you can do. So I will be back tomorrow, probably about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Until then, if you've got kids, Jackie Ward's just sent me the 3 red hearts. Thank you very much indeed, Jackie. Thanks for your support. See you tomorrow. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that. I'll let you know in the morning, because I do in the morning want to watch Laura Kunsberg. Who did she say that she had on? The Home Secretary is going to be on there, so I'll be very interested to see what she says. So I'll see you tomorrow, if not Monday, 6:30. Please tell all your friends. Keep spreading the word. Please keep spreading the word. That's Stuart Lowe. What's he saying? He's put the thumbs up. Thank you, Stuart. Right, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, if you've got kids, I'm trying to get off here, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.